Hello, guys. Welcome, everybody, to Purple Haze Podcast. I am your host who bleeds purple and gold, Isaac here. So, now that the playoffs are not officially done yet. The off season is just about to start, but right now we're going to come up with, ideas of who the Vikings should get or which players they should draft. It's going to be an interesting off season on how the Vikings handle it, but basically, I'm just going to talk about the main positions that really need it, that really need to be worked on by Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell this offseason. It's going to be huge, though, and determine how the rest of their future goes in 2025 and beyond. So basically, we already have like a quarterback of position. We don't need a quarterback. We just got to get rid of Sam Darnold and then keep JJ McCarthy, Daniel Jones. Maybe you could replace Nick Mullins. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes with Nick Mullins, but right now we already have a quarterback. Running back is probably what we need because yes, Aaron Jones and Cam Akers, they're solid running backs, but here's the thing that I will say though. They need an upgrade over Aaron Jones. They definitely need a huge upgrade because watching all the other playoff teams like the Eagles, the Lions, and the Ravens, they have running back by committee. They have such a strong run game. Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Jahmyr Gibbs. It basically makes sense if the Vikings do that. They've Aaron Jones was a massive upgrade over Alexander Madison in 23, but it only makes sense if the Vikings move on from. If they wanted to re-sign Aaron Jones for one more year, okay, fine, but it still wouldn't hurt to get a running back either in. I feel like you need a running back in the draft. Because, yes, free agency, it could be good, for sometimes, in free agency, but I feel a lot better if the Vikings got a running back in the draft. So that's basically one thing that they do need, and then, the wide receiver and tight ends, they're good. We don't need to do anything about those. The offensive line. The offensive line is probably, I think, for me, the biggest issue on the offense that needs to be worked on. Like, everything needs to be blown up, besides Christian Darrisaw. If you wanted to keep Brian O'Neill, okay, that's fine, but everybody else in the interior offensive line, Garrett Bradbury, Ed Ingram, maybe Dalton Reisner, I think his deal is up. Blake Brandel, all of those guys, they need to go. Because there's no reason why, because how bad the offensive line was in the season, it was really bad. It was not good once Christian Darrisaw went down. And maybe you want to maybe give Cam Robinson another chance, maybe have him stay, but the interior offensive line is where we need. There's no way we are keeping this interior offensive line and say we are good. Because we need a good offensive line, dude. Like, Garrett Bradbury is just about. He is as light as a feather. Everybody else is basically just as bad. So really, a center, two guards, maybe a tackle, a right tackle in the mix. Go for it, honestly. Those guys, the rest of them, no. Besides Christian Darrisaw, he can stay. He is just fine. He just got paid with the Vikings, so I think we'll be just fine with him. And then on the defense side of the ball, there are a couple positions also that could absolutely be filled in is the defensive tackle position. I understand completely what that we don't want to, Jerry Tillery and Harrison Phillips, they've been great assets, but we need big guys up in the middle. We need big guys. Whether in free agency, I don't care if it's in the draft or free agency. You need to find some big dudes up in the middle so they can stuff the run and get after the quarterback, even on the four rush if they have to, because blitzing is not always going to work. Because blitzing is not always going to work. You need a guy up there who can get there even in the four rush. Not every single time, I get it, but for at least majority of the game that is going to be played, you need that big guy up there. And then cornerbacks, really, I'm not sure really about safeties. People are saying safeties is a position of need, but really, even if Harrison Smith does leave, you got Josh Metellus, Cameron Bynum, Theo Jackson is starting to become a stud. So I would say the safety position is not of need in my opinion, because those players, we're all set with those. But the cornerbacks is where it's needed. I mean, yes, you got basically a couple of tragic events. Mekhi Blackman getting hurt and Kyrie Jackson unfortunately passing away. He was a cornerback too, by the way, but so you're gonna need a lot of cornerback room, whether in free agency, maybe you could find some maybe in the draft. Who knows? But maybe you could you could probably keep Byron Murphy Jr. He has gotten a lot better with the Vikings this season than he did last season. So, I wouldn't mind re-signing him or keeping Mekhi Blackman, but you need you need a lot of extra young guys up there that can block. Because not in the first round, because you should save something better for in the first round. Because you probably need to draft it later in the draft than you do earlier. So I feel like that's something the Vikings really need to do is get a quarterback. Not a cornerback, you can cut Stephon Gilmore really because it's only just a 1-year thing or a rental of a player that wasn't really all that good. Maybe Shaq Griffin could get better, but you need to do it just in case, though. So all the other positions that I did not mention, they're all set. We're all set there, and other than that, the positions that I did say the Vikings need to address. There's no reason for them not to get this team better. And also for coaching things, maybe a new defensive coordinator is possible. It could be possible depending on what Brian Flores does. And then also maybe a new offensive coordinator for Kevin O'Connell to give up play calling duties to. So those are basically my opinion on what the Vikings really need to do this offseason. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Skull Vikings.